Okay.
Yeah. So
Just got to
you
get out
see
of
it.
private chat and go into the comment.
I don't know. I'll make a comment. See if you can find it. Well, it should come up as
Hello, everyone.
Facebook and YouTube.
Yep.
Yep. Perfect.
Got
So
it.
you should be able to see. All right. We got some people in TikTok here. Let's see. I don't know. I'm not hearing very well. Let's see here. All right, guys. This is Hacknaion Live. I'm your host, Aaron Bennett. Like every Saturday, except for last Saturday when I was gone in Georgia, hanging out with Rob. Tonight I have Rob from Highway and Heavy Parts on with me. Pretty cool there. Uh-oh. I forgot to forward my calls on my phone. That's okay. If you're watching us on TikTok, we encourage you to go watch this on Facebook or YouTube, where you'll be able to hear the caller. It's much more interactive. You'll also be able to see Rob over there. Obviously, you can't see Rob on TikTok because he's streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, and you won't be able to hear him either. So highly encourage you guys to go over there. Not that we don't appreciate the viewers, but it's much more interactive over there. If you guys don't know, this last week I went and met with Rob and with Andy. Andy's the owner of Highway and Heavy Parts. Rob's his right-hand man. And we went and toured some facilities that are busy bees, trying to get our product line put together so we can get it out to y'all. Pretty excited about it. Pretty cool to be a part of that whole process. And it was always a good time hanging out with Rob.
Yeah. No, we had a good time.
Yes, we did. So the guys, this is a call-in show. Rob and I are here to answer any questions anybody might have. Also, we encourage you to join in the chats. We lean heavily on the chats to help us out, answer people's questions. We certainly don't pretend to know everything. Rob kind of knows everything, but I don't pretend to know everything. The number for the show, guys, is 573-422-4225. And we'll go ahead and get right into it. Rob, before we get carried away here, I did, it's just kind of between you and me. We should have said this off the record before we got going, but we're a little late. So long story short, I did radio for a long time. I've done a lot of shows. I do this show. And the worst thing for any show is dead air. So don't let me talk you into the dirt. I try to keep the conversation going all the time. If you want to say something, it's not rude to talk right over me and I'll just shut my mouth. Okay.
You got it.
So there's no formalities here. We just want to help people out. Let's go ahead and take a caller just so we can make sure the phone lines are working. And then I do want to chat with you about some stuff as well, but we'll go ahead and take this caller and see if it even works. Hello, you're on the air.
Hello?
Oh yeah, we got you. Hang on one sec.
Okay.
Can you hear him, Rob?
I can hear him. Yep. Loud and clear.
Oh, good. Okay, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is a follow-up call from last week. I called in last week and asked about your break-in procedure for an in-frame overhaul. This is in a 99 Peterbilt 377, has an M14 Cummins in it. So I tried to follow your instructions, found some hills. I ran probably in the neighborhood of 100 miles. I had a piece of cardboard over the whole front of the radiator, did not have the air conditioner on, and got the truck up to around 200 degrees, which caused the cooling fan to come on, and the fan was cycling. So, like I said, I repeatedly ran this bluff hill. It was about a 10-mile round trip, varying hills. I had about 20 tons on the dump trailer. And I really didn't have a problem with the truck. Everything's fine. I think it runs good. And my follow-up question, though, is you talk a lot about getting the truck up to operating temperature. So in this, what I call this break-in period, I got it up to like 200 degrees. I removed the cardboard for the trip home. It was about a 30-mile trip back home. And after I got into the trip about 8 to 10 miles. The truck kind of settled into, I think, what would be its operating temperature, which on this Peterbilt truck, it was halfway between 150 and 200, which I'm going to assume is 175 to 180. Is that acceptable operating temperature for you or for me? And is that going to cause carbon buildup? Because we are going to start harvesting wheat next week. The truck's going to be used in the wheat harvest. And the kind of use it's going to get, it's going to drive to the field, which could be 1 mile away or 15 miles away. It's going to turn around, come back to the grain bin site. It's going to sit there and idle while the dump truck unloads. It'll take probably about 10 minutes to unload it, and then it goes back to the field. So I guess is the standard operating temperature of this 175, 180 without the cardboard in front of the radiator, is that acceptable?
Well, first of all, if your engine fan was coming on, it was warmer than you're thinking anyway. It doesn't even come on till 218.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't verify that. I didn't have a gun with me to check any kind of temperature, but I did run it to get it up to get the fan to come on.
I mean, the biggest thing you need to understand is what you're trying to achieve in the first place, Rob. Right, Rob? What are we trying to achieve when we're breaking stuff in?
So you're basically doing the final machine process between the rings and the liners. Ultimately, if you're making boost, you're filling that cylinder full of air. As that piston travels upward, it's going to carry some oil with it. What you want is enough cylinder pressure that it pushes that ring down into the ringland. And that pressure will ultimately go in behind the ring and push the ring outward into the cylinder wall. So the more cylinder pressure you create, the more outward pressure you're going to have on that piston ring. And that's really what you want to do, is make sure that you're building boost, and you're really filling that cylinder. The more pressure in there, the more outward force you get on that ring. And that's really what you want it to do. I would try and keep the idle time to a minimum, as that engine is new. That ring just kind of floats on that piston when there's no pressure on it.
Okay. I mean, is 15 minutes idle time excessive?
No, not really.
No.
I mean, it's gonna drive back to the field, get loaded, so I mean, there's a good possibility that it's not going to be shut off all day long.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do the job that you got to do. It is what it is. I mean, the worst thing you can possibly do is let it sit there at a dead idle for 3 or 4 hours, sure, but that's not going to be the case. Just have your guys idle it up when you're sitting there, and you should be fine, brother.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time.
Yep.
I think it'll be fine. Thank you.
Yep. Have a good day.
You got it.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Bye now.
And we do have quite a few more callers. Guys, again, if you're watching on TikTok, not that we don't appreciate you, but you can hear the caller and you can hear Rob and see Rob's beautiful face. If you go over to Facebook or YouTube to watch this, that's where we can stream it live. TikTok doesn't allow us to integrate it, so we encourage you to go over there to watch it. The number to call in is 573-422-4225. We do try to answer comments unless we get too many callers piled up. There's already a couple callers on hold here, so we'll get to them here in a minute. Cool. Again, that number is 573-422-4225. I have Rob with Highway and Heavy Parts on the show with me tonight. Next Wednesday, we're going to have Charlie with Rev Diesel on here, Pure Diesel Repair. And then the week after that, we're going to have another guest, a good friend of mine, James Daniels out of Georgia, Savannah, Georgia. Probably one of the best mechanics and all-around handyman I've ever met. So it should be pretty cool. But tonight we got Rob, one of the best in the industry. If you guys don't know who he is, he works for Highway and Heavy Parts. He's the owner's right-hand man. He's been my go-to for many years for his wealth of knowledge, helping me solve innumerable problems. So let's go ahead and take another caller. Rob, what would you say what is your job title?
And I do a little bit of everything, right? It's training, it's sales, it's I've been for the last year sales manager, but also doing a lot of training, keeping people up to speed, whether it's technical training or sales training or those type of things. So always bringing in new people, teaching them about the business and how to take care of customers, and just do a little bit of everything.
You definitely do a little bit of everything, especially when I call.
Shipping and receiving, whole 9 yards.
Right. Product tracking.
Yep.
Phone calls 3 hours after you went home. Help me, Rob. All right, we're gonna go ahead and take another caller here. It looks like we got Nolan. Hello, you're on the air.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, brother man. What can we do for you?
So I got a 2WS Cat, and the pyro is not working. I replaced the wire on it, and it'll work for a moment, and then it will just stop. And I was trying to see what it all could be. The gauge is fairly new, and the pyro is fairly new as well, with a stinger. So
what kind of truck is it in?
It's in a 389 glider.
Okay. I mean, those things are pretty simple. I mean, there's not a whole lot that can go wrong with them. I mean, if it's wigging out on you, I mean, it's got to be in the wiring or it's just a probe. All it is a probe. It's no different than a thermometer.
I mean, could it be the stinger that's going bad on it?
I mean, of course, it could be anything. I mean, that's anybody's guess, right? It could be the gauge. The gauge is acting funny. It could be anywhere in that wire from the probe to the gauge. They're inexpensive enough, really, that if I was having a problem with it, I wouldn't even think twice. There's so many aftermarket ones and stuff like that. I would just yard that one out of there, throw it in a dumpster where it belongs, and put another one in. Just because it's such a simple device. Okay. There's nothing technical going on there. It has to be something simple because the device is simple.
Right.
Self-contained independent system, right?
Well, yeah, I was just trying to Yeah, I was pretty much just trying to troubleshoot, go through one thing after another. Like I said, I replaced the wire. Probably just going to go next and replace the stinger and see if that works. And then after that, probably replace the gauge if that doesn't help. So thought I'd get a hold of the wizard and see what he had to say about it.
Well, you heard directly from Rob's mouth. We're good to go.
All right, man. All right. Well, yeah, that's what I'll do, and then go from there. I appreciate you guys' time, and like everything that you're doing, your content and everything else, man.
All right. Have a good night, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, you too. Thanks.
Yep. Bye. We got couple comments here. There's quite a few callers in the queue, by the way, Rob. You probably can't see them, but
I can't.
Let's see. You talk highly of the 78 millimeter quick spool. What brand and how does a guy locate one? I know that we're working on coming out with something ourselves, but what brands do we recommend, Rob? And how does a guy get one?
And you can do Borg Warner. You can do an aftermarket version of that. When ours comes out, we can do that one. It's not there yet, but I mean, Borg's been solid, right? You can do. There's all kinds of versions of that turbo out there.
Yeah, there is. Our plan is to ceramic coat the internals on our turbo. Yep. The last I heard.
Yep.
So we're going to have something totally different, totally new coming to the market. But in the meantime, I get all my 78 millimeter turbos from Highway and Heavy Parts. And you guys usually either send me a Bully Dog or a Borg Warner. And I'll be honest, I haven't really seen a difference between the two. Prices are almost the same. I remember 3 years ago, we used to have quite a bit of problems with the Bully Dog ones, but I continue to use them because they're just, they're pretty good about taking care of us if there's something went wrong. And they've certainly improved them since then. I haven't had one it's been a couple of years now. Yeah, since we've been in Texas, I don't think I've had to call you for a single turbo that we've had a problem with. So they've certainly improved. So these days, it really doesn't matter what Rob and the boys at Highway and Heavy Parts send me. I just strap it on the side and get it. So seems like go ahead.
I was going to say I think the last time we had an issue with one was definitely back in North Dakota. And that got resolved quickly.
Yeah. My truck sounds like it's grinding when it downshifts to gear 5. Any idea? It don't happen all the time, but it's starting to happen more often. Yeah, your synchro is going bad in the back, buddy. Time to get a new transmission, unfortunately. All right, you ready for another caller, Rob?
You got it. Let's go.
I see a lot of people complaining they can't hear the rest of the show on TikTok here. Pretty obvious, guys. We're streaming this live on Facebook and YouTube. I stream it on TikTok just to pull in more viewers. Go on over and find us Hacknaion on Facebook or YouTube. We're streaming live over there. You can see and hear Rob, and you can hear the callers as well. So that's the place to go. Again, this is Hacknaion Live. I'm your host, Aaron Bennett, the owner of Hacknaion, and tonight I have Rob from Highway and Heavy Parts. He's the man. All right, we'll go ahead and take a caller here. Hi, Brian. You're on the air.
Hey, Aaron, how you doing, man?
Good, brother, man. What can we do for you?
I've got a T15 A-Cert, and I bought the truck and run it for about a month. When I bought the truck, I noticed it looked like it had a new IVA oil pressure sensor in it. Well, I run the truck for about a month, then it started showing a code of 95, which is a fault in the IVA oil pressure sensor circuit. When I turn the truck off, I can kill the truck, crank it back up. As long as I'm sitting there idling, the light, it doesn't show a code. But when I get going down the road, it may be 3 miles or 30 miles, but the light will come back on and it's derating. I've changed the sensor again, and I've changed the plug on the sensor. Can you help me figure out, give me some ideas of what else I need to look at?
So first of all, the reason that it's only doing that when you're driving is because the oil has to be to a certain temperature for the IVAs to even operate. If you ever wondered what it's like to run your truck without IVAs, start your truck up cold in the morning and drive it. For the first 5 or 6 minutes, they're not going to be operating at all. Anyhow, so to kind of put it into perspective, how many times I've changed a VVA solenoid on engines in 15 years, I can count on one hand, because it's almost never the solenoid. Those things are almost bulletproof. It is almost exclusively the internal wiring harness that causes you to throw those codes.
The internal, like under the valve covers.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If you're having issues with those codes, 99.9% of the time, that internal wiring harness is going to cure that problem.
The internal wiring harness. Okay. So I don't even, it's a 07 model truck, and it's got what I'm calling the original outside external wiring harness on it.
Yep.
You don't think that's going to be an issue too? So you say it's going to be the internal.
The odds of it being the external harness are astronomically smaller. Obviously, anything's possible, but I want to steer you into the least expensive and most likely scenario, and that's going to be that internal harness, which is astronomically more affordable and much more likely to be the problem.
Okay. All right. Well, I will look into that then. Like I said, Aaron, I appreciate it. I watch you on TikTok all the time. My dad has talked to you several times, and he told me, he said, call Aaron. He could tell you what's wrong with it. So here I am.
Well, at least I fooled one person.
Who's the wizard now?
I got you, man. Look, I appreciate it. And like I said, I'll look into that internal harness then, man. I thank you.
Yep. Have a good night.
Yep.
Thank you.
So in the comments here, guy says, is it safe to use a turbo blanket? The answer to that, I want to hear what Rob has to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately what you're trying to do is keep the heat in the housing, right? It's very similar to what you're trying to do with the ceramic. It's keep the heat in the housing.
Yep. So that's exactly our thoughts behind ceramic coating the housings on turbos. And we've actually done a little bit of it here in house. We've ceramic coated a couple of stock turbos. And it's the same concept. Certainly, if you can keep the heat inside the housing, you're way better off. Same thing with the ceramic manifold and all that. I just wanted to hear Rob's take on it there.
Yeah, that hot expanding gas, right? That's what's turning the turbo. That's what's driving that. So that's why it makes it more efficient.
Yep. Another comment here. We're going to get back to the callers, guys. Don't get impatient. We'll get right back to you. Thanks for staying on hold. Any plans for X15 to the Cat 640 build? We already do that. Man, I make videos all the time showing us improving Cummins. I'm constantly on the phone with Rob. He could tell you all about it, asking him, hey, what can I build this one to? And we're changing CPLs on Cummins all the time, building them to higher horsepower, keeping them compliant. We don't need to make them, we don't do deletes here. We don't tear them up and do all this crazy stuff like these guys do out there. We can take your engine, keep it intact, keep the emissions intact, and completely change the CPL. And we're just building more horsepower and keeping it all compliant. It's really not that big of a deal. You just kind of have to be overhauling it already to do something like that. So it's not just drive in and we put some shitty tune on your truck and send you out the door. So as far as 640 build for Cummins, yes. And the thing we've been lacking with the Cummins is ceramic coating pistons and Teflon rods and mains and all that kind of cool stuff. We are solving that problem. We're solving that problem in the very near future with our own product line coming out with highway and heavy parts. And in the intern here, we're shot peening and coating some of them in-house until we have something in hand. So we're already doing that 100%. I can't believe that everybody doesn't know that. We make videos about it all the time. Guys call me all the time, Rob, and they're like, oh, I know you only build cats, but I wanted to talk to you about my Cummins. Like, what are you talking? Do you never watch any of my videos? Like, literally, for every cat, there's 5 Cummins in here, and there's 3 Detroits, and it's funny, but
do a little everything.
I mean,
right?
You sell me all my parts. I mean, what was it last week? You were spending who knows how many hours trying to figure out Alice Chalmers for me, right?
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
I know you've sold me John Deere stuff, and we've done quite a few John Deeres, and we just did that. Yep, Perkins. You guys sold me Perkins kit, and what's another oddball one? That International 466E.
Yep.
That was pretty recent. We kind of do everything, guys. If it's the only thing we don't do is pickups. We'll do medium duty engines if they're in an industrial application. We have 3 industrial engines in the shop right now at Alice Chalmers, a C12 and a C13. They're all industrial engines. One of them drives a pump, and one of them's in a road grader. And I don't remember what the third one's for, but anyway, we'll get back to the callers here. Hello, you're on the air.
Yes, I got a 2012 Peterbilt 386 with an ISX. It's got like 400 on an in-frame, but it's deleted, and I keep having issues. I don't know. My oil temp always goes to around 240, 250, and I have to run the fan all the time. I didn't know if you had any ideas. I was going to try putting some oil cooler thermostats on there, but I don't really know what else to check.
The stock cooler thermostat's 235 when it opens, and that's the stock thermostat. There is, the QSX thermostat, which is 215, I believe, which will help a little bit, but I think Aaron's working on some solutions for that as well.
I don't know if I was ready to tell the world that yet, Rob, but yeah, we partnered with another company and we're producing in Savannah, Georgia. Actually, we're producing a device because currently the only thing you have on the market is you got to go to PDI and get their double oil cooler. That's the only thing out there. And that double oil cooler is like $4,000, and you're going to be a couple thousand into installing it. So you're going to be what, $6,000. And we got a device we're coming out with in the next couple of weeks that is about $300 and about 20 minutes to install. That will lower your oil temperatures a couple hundred or a couple to about 10 to 15 degrees above your coolant is what I was trying to say there. But here's the thing, man. Rob just pointed out that thermostat doesn't even open until 2:35.
Yep.
And the Cummins are designed to run like that. Obviously, it doesn't even open until 2:35. If you think you have excessive oil temperature, there's really only one way that can happen, and that is if you're getting combustion gas into the oil that's superheating the oil. So unless you're burning a lot of oil, like you're having to add oil, pretty regularly, maybe 1 to 3 gallons in 10,000 miles, you probably don't have any problems going on. You're just worrying about it for no reason. That's my honest opinion.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was figuring, because I'm used to having a cat, but this is my first Cummins, and I'll go 10,000 miles on an oil change on this 400,000 mile motor, and I don't even have to add a quart.
Then you need to stop worrying about it.
I'm
Really,
just worried about it.
You're doing good.
All right, appreciate it.
all right. Have a good night.
No problem.
You too.
All right, Rob, we're starting to get buried in callers, so I probably better run through a few here. Can you see the comments, Rob?
I can.
Okay, so if anything jumps out at you that you want to address or talk about, just say so, and we'll make sure we make the time. Guys, again, if you're watching on TikTok and you want to see Rob and hear Rob from Highway and Heavy Parts, and you want to hear the caller, you got to go over to YouTube or to Facebook. We're streaming live there. TikTok does not allow us to integrate, so it's a much more integrated show on those two channels. So anyway, we'll go ahead and take a caller here. Unless, Rob, take a caller?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, here we go. All right, Night Rider. You're on there, brother.
All right, so mine's kind of a messed up question. We're just trying to figure out if we're getting screwed at another shop or not. Sorry,
Yes.
excuse me, I'm driving as we talk. So I have a 3406 Cat, and they charged me, it was like $26,000 for a platinum rebuild kit from Cat. Anyway, my uncle has a 2000 International with an N14 Cummins, and they're telling him that it's going to be 20-something thousand just for the kit. Does that sound right for a rebuild kit for a Cummins? I just don't see how he's paying the same price I paid for the Cat.
How much did you pay for that platinum kit from Cat?
Yeah, so so side note, my boss also partially owns this shop. This is why we think we're getting screwed now. I paid, it was $26,000 and some change just for the kit.
I mean, you already know you got fucked. I mean, you already know you did.
I'm not including labor.
Right, you already know you got fucked.
But so yeah, now I know that I got fucked. Now they're trying to tell him. So I guess we're looking for someone to order a kit from now.
What kind of engine does he have?
He has the Cummins N14 motor.
So here's what I'll let you know. The N14 is far and away one of the most affordable engines to overhaul. Far and away. To give you an example, the oil cooler for the N14, what is it, Rob? It's like a smidge over $200.
It's not that expensive. I mean, you might be when you're talking platinum kit. So you're talking
in-frame kit,
heads, injectors, oil pump, water pump. I mean, you're less than $10,000.
Yeah, quite Yeah, you're under
Yeah.
10,000. Yep.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, I royally got screwed. Well, see, I was a new owner operator, so now I know for next time, I guess. Right?
I mean, and for anybody that wants to jump in and say, oh, well, you're not comparing apples to apples. A platinum in-frame kit from Cat is nowhere near what you just told us. It's not directly from Cat. It's not. Now, in aftermarket these days isn't even that much less expensive than OEM. It's not. It used to be, but now it's almost comparable. Obviously, OEM is going to be a little bit more, but I'd go with aftermarket anyway because it's better product. It's not reman. It's all new stuff.
Yeah, I noticed with the aftermarket, it's all brand new too.
Well, I mean, did you have to give them back did you have to give them back all your cores?
I believe he took all my cores.
Exactly, because it's not brand new.
That's
how reman stuff works, right? So aftermarket, they're not asking you for any of your cores back because it's brand new.
Yeah.
I guess the next question would be like, I guess where's the perfect place to get a rebuild kit for an M14 Cummins? Because there's hundreds of sites that sell different shit. So.
I know a guy.
Excuse my language.
I happen to
this
know.
This is my first time ever talking to you or watching your show. FYI.
Okay.
I was actually told you by another friend of mine. So I'm.
So Rob on the show with me tonight. He is from Highway and Heavy Parts. That's where I get all of my parts from. They're also the guys that partnered with me to come out with our own product line. But currently, I still get everything from them. I mean, I always will anyway. But far and away, they're the industry leader in parts resale. 100%. They've been recognized as that multiple times. They have some of the best pricing. They certainly have the best customer service and support, not just service, not just, oh, how you doing? I'm going to be nice to you when you're on the phone. They know what the fuck they're doing. They know which direction to point you. They know how to answer your questions. I highly recommend you Google them, Highway and Heavy Parts, and give them a call tomorrow. You won't be disappointed that you did. Their shipping is astronomically fast. They have locations all over the United States. Long story short, they don't fuck around. And the biggest thing for me is they stand behind the shit that they sell, even when the manufacturer doesn't, right? You have to have blatantly fucked it up yourself.
Right.
These guys are going to take care of you all the time.
Yeah. Oh, we appreciate
I appreciate the time, guys.
Yeah. No problem.
All right. Have a good night, man. And good luck with all that, okay?
Yeah, thanks.
I don't know how you can have worse luck. Here's the thing. So I've talked about this with you before, Rob, but people like to bring me quotes that they got from other shops or rebuild, invoices that they paid from other shops. They do it quite frequently. I would say at least a third of the people that come here. So I see a lot of them. I see them from all over the country. And here's what you see. My labor price is very close to a national average from what I can tell. Like I'm higher than some people, a little lower than some people, but the end quote is always like way higher. And it's because they jack the prices of the parts through the moon. And the reason they do that is because they know that the end user, the customer, your owner operator, he's not going to bitch about the price of the parts. He's only going to complain about the price of the labor because he has to have the parts. Those are going on his truck. Those are not a disposable item like the labor is a disposable line item, right? So that's where they get everybody. I can't imagine being a guy out there with a truck these days. I mean, you guys need to take a good look at what these shops are charging you for the parts. That's where they're getting all you guys because their labor prices. I mean, I see them from all over the United States, from Maryland to Idaho and Texas to Canada even. And, well, Canada's a whole nother animal.
Right.
But pretty much you see a consistent labor price anywhere from $120 to $180 an hour. And the quotes that I see that they give for hourly for how long it's going to take to do the job are pretty consistently within the realm of reality, right? It's not like 80 hours that they're trying to bill out. It's going to be somewhere between 40 and 50 hours on an in-frame. That's pretty consistent. I see from across the nation. It's the parts where they're fucking you guys big time.
Yeah.
So just keep your eyes open for that. If you ever wonder why some place like Worldwide Diesel can sell you a long block plus for X amount of money, or I can build you an engine for X amount of money, and it seems to be so much more affordable than other places. That's why, we're not taking the parts and marking them up 100 times. If a cylinder head costs $3,300, we're not saying it's $5,600 or $7,800. So that's really where you start to see the big difference, because they know you're not going to bitch. They know you're not going to bitch about those parts.
Yeah, just looking at that, I mean, that 871 head at 5,600, I think our head's $4,000. So there's quite a significant difference, and especially the overhaul kit at $7,800. I mean, we're about $3,500 for that overhaul kit. So there's a significant difference in the price there.
Yep. Yeah, but even if you're going apples to apples, right, comparing OEM is not that much, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it can be, but it depends on the place you're at, right? Like if the shops themselves mark up the parts, that's where they make all their money. That way, and it's literally because every shop in the United States has figured out that people don't bitch about the parts, right? So,
yeah.
Anyway,
and
we got a whole.
I was gonna say, to a certain
ahead.
extent, the shop should make some money, right? They've sourced the parts, they bought the parts, they're checking them in, they're making sure they're right, they're filing a warranty if they need to, they're sending cores back, so they're doing things that are a convenience. So they should make a little bit of money, but sometimes it gets excessive.
Of course.
Yep.
Right. I'm not saying that.
Yep.
Do I have a markup on my parts? I have to. Just the amount of man hours I have to pay the girls that work here to process them all, of course.
There you go.
And there's nothing wrong with making profit, of course. Like Ohio Truck Works here just said, profit isn't a dirty word. Just be transparent and open. Nothing. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%. 100%. Yep. But that's not what's happening. And like I said, I see all these quotes from all over the nation. I'll give you the most ridiculous example of all. And this is a true story. I saw on a guy's invoice, he had it overhauled. On his invoice, they had charged him $4,000 for the oil cooler and parts on an N14. It is a under $300 part. True story. Because they needed to make up their money, so that's how they made it up.
Wow,
that's crazy. Anyway, all right, back to the cars. We got it stacked up pretty hard here.
Yep.
Steven, I think. Hello.
Yeah, how's it going? I got a 2019 Peterbilt 389. I'm looking to either swap it for a Cat or Detroit. I wanted to get your thoughts, and I know you're a Cat guy, but what you thought about it.
Well, I'm a diesel engine guy, to be honest with you. But you're talking about swapping a Detroit to a Cat?
Pack car.
Oh, a pack car.
No, swapping a pack car. Yeah. I've already. It's got about 400,000 in blue, so it's got a new motor in it now. But I've also had to delete it and stuff like that. So I want to swap it before it blows again. But I'm just trying to get a rough idea. Obviously, I don't have a motor for it, so I'm trying to figure out what. I know the Cat's got more power. I know that. I believe they're probably a little bit more to rebuild than a Detroit, from what I was told. I know the Detroit probably gets better fuel mileage and stuff like that. I know the basics, but it's also a car hauler, so it hauls quite a bit of weight every day. So I'm just trying to. I'm new to the trucking thing, so I'm just trying to see what you think.
2 weeks from now, I'm going to have James Daniels on here, and he runs an entire fleet, and he has a very sizable fleet of nothing but pack cars. and I'm excited to have. I'm going to be drilling them about PACCARs because I know that the longevity of a PACCAR is not really in question, right? They get high mileage. They also get great fuel mileage. Those are both things that you want to see in an engine. Is it going to have as much power as a Cat? No. But that's not where the world. That's not where the world's at. You know, if you're trying to be profitable, where the world is at is, can I get good fuel mileage? Can I get 1,000,000 miles out of it? Right, and it does fit that bill.
Yeah.
And I know my buddy James has quite a few tricks that he's learned over the years to keep those things on the road for a long time. As far as answering your question directly, the first thing I would tell you is it's not legal. So you run into all kinds of problems there, right? You run into all kinds of problems there just trying to figure out, you know, logistical support from somebody like Custom Truck. It's almost impossible to do something like that without using them. Then you got to find a shop that's willing to do it or do it yourself. And it turns into this whole nightmare. We have done gliders in the past, similar jobs to what you're talking about. And I have, and that this includes a guy buying an engine from us for the, you know, the low 50s. But the average guy, when he gets out of here, he's into it after he gets all the parts to make the conversion, all the work to get it done. The average guy gets out of here for the mid 70s. So, I mean, how many times did you overhaul that PACCAR for that? Right? 4 times, 3 times. So, you know,
I mean, I just had it redone. Luckily, it was under the. They have like a warrant. They came out with a warranty for 18s and 19s for the major component warranty, and it ate a cam and sent a bunch of metal down and, you know, took out a main bearing and the crank. So they ended up paying for it, but the bill was 70 something grand because they put a new short block in it. So a whole new block and everything. But yeah, those things are quite expensive to rebuild. Not to mention the parts are, you know, outrageously expensive. And I mean, I do like the motor. It's just, you know, obviously it doesn't have the power of a Cat, but I didn't expect that. So
yeah, I mean, if it was me, I'd go make money with what I have. That's what I'd do.
Yeah.
Miles of the gallon than you would if you had the Cat.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll check back when because I'm also having some issues with it too. So I'll check back. When did you say you're gonna have that guy on? In a few weeks?
Not this next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, it's gonna be Charlie from Pure Diesel Repair, and so the Wednesday after that will be James Daniels from Savannah, Georgia. He owns Trademark Truck Lines. Awesome guy.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check back because I watch your videos and stuff, so I'm always up on it. So yeah, I'll check back with you and like I said, it's running now, it's making money and stuff like that. So I didn't plan on doing anything right now, but it's deleted, so technically it's illegal now, but but yeah, I'll check back because I'm having some issues with some wiring. I don't know if it's the tune that the guy put in it or what, but it's throwing a bunch of CAN wiring codes. So it was also doing that before when the DEF system was messing up too. So I'm not sure if it's in the computer, in the wiring, or in the sometimes I can clear the code. It will go 3 or 4 days. Sometimes it will only go 10 minutes, and it will go. But yeah, I can.
Well,
check back with you.
Yeah, call back in 2 weeks because I'm gonna have a guy on here that can answer any question you have about a PACCAR.
Okay, absolutely, will do.
All right, sir. Have a good night. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Bye. Oh, the PACCAR.
Yeah.
You have anybody you want to reply to, Rob?
Now there's more and more PACCAR parts coming out all the time. They're gonna be around for a while, I think.
Oh yeah. Yep. Along with the Cummins.
Sure.
I'm not looking forward to the newest Cummins they're going to come out with, but we'll see. You know, I felt the same way about the X15, and now we rebuild more X15s than any other engine. So,
Right.
I'm sure it'll be
Yep.
fine. We ready for another caller, Rob? Or
You got it. Yep.
okay, here we go. Geraldo, hello, you're on the air.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Hey, yeah, you just answered my question about the transmission. How it downshifts into fifth gear and it grinds. It's an automatic. I don't know if that matters. And I just got the oil changed on it, and there was no metal shavings or anything down there. No, metal sludge or anything on the thing. I don't know if that matters.
Well, what kind of an automatic is it? Is it a true automatic, or is it like a power shift? I mean,
it's an ultra shift Eaton automatic.
So that thing operates exactly like a manual does, and your servos are going out on it. It's the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, quick answer. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, sir. Good luck.
No problem.
All right. Thank you.
You know, those are actually a pretty bulletproof transmission. They just kind of take the driver error out of it, but it sounds like it doesn't completely take the driver error out of it, because I would call the problem he's having a driver error problem, to be honest with you. But, if you got an automatic, it's a little hard there to blame it on the driver.
Right.
So the number, people are asking, the number for the call-in is 573-422-4225. If you're watching on TikTok, we encourage you to go over to Facebook and YouTube. You can hear and see Rob, who's on live with me right now. He's from Highway and Heavy Parts, and you can hear the caller. It's a much more interactive experience over there. It's Hacknaion over at YouTube and Facebook. Again, the guys, the number to call in, what time is it? So we got plenty of time. The number to call in is 573-422-4225. As we get later in the show, I like to give it out less and less because we get so many callers backed up. But 8 minutes is the longest we have someone on hold right now. So the hold time is not too bad, guys, if you want to call in. Well, like 3 more people just called in, so we better get to them. Hello, Dylan.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on the air.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, this is Dylan. I have a ISM that I'm having some wild issues with. We actually rebuilt it here in the shop. Did everything like a normal standard in-frame. It actually just got dusted, and we put a new turbo on it. It's having some weird VGT issues. It like wants to stick, the VGT does, but we also put a new turbo on it because it got dusted so bad, and we just can't figure out why. It's not throwing a code or doing anything. It just spools up like normal, and it gets stuck, and if you stab your foot into it, it'll just run all the way up to almost 40 pounds, and it will come unstuck. You'll push past the air actuated VGT portion in the turbo, I think, with the boost, and it'll actually let it go for a second, and then when you come back down, it does the opposite effect. It slows down and drags you down on the engine.
When you rebuilt the engine, there's
Any idea?
Cummins has got a service parts topic out there, installing a turbo after an engine failure or something like that it's called. Basically, they're going through and making sure that everything gets cleaned out through the EGR system, the crossover pipe, the venturi, the mixer. They even want you to start the engine with no turbocharger on it once you get it all back together and cleaned out. That way, if there's any pieces in there, that get sucked back in the intake and out the exhaust, first thing it hits is the fins on the turbo. And if it hits one of the fins on the turbo and bends it, then you get those sticking situations where all of a sudden it gets to a certain point and it's stuck. It doesn't want to move from there. So there is a service parts topic out there on how to do that and how to go about it so that you hopefully don't run into those situations.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, we flushed the EGR cooler out, and all the intake was split and took it apart, and it had new heads put on it, and yeah.
Yeah.
It's been quite a problem child. I don't really know how else to describe it.
And you guys calibrated the actuator?
Yes, you can go in and manually actuate it too, and it doesn't leak any air or anything. It moves. I actually put a new actuator on it just out of curiosity to see what it does, and it has no air leaking on it, either end, actuator end, or your control box end, and nothing leaks, and it you can see it actuate. The only thing that's really funny is it goes for the EGR derate. When you derate is when the turbo gets stuck, but it doesn't throw a code or anything.
Yeah. So you got an air actuated
it's
one,
not
right?
deleted or anything. It's not messed with.
You got the air actuated turbo?
Yeah.
It doesn't have the electronic actuator. Yeah.
Yeah. Air actuated. Yeah.
I think if you disconnect that
it's like
actuator,
it's stuck in there, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. You could possibly disconnect that actuator and
that's the weird part. So if you go over, so what you do is if you walk over, if you drive it down the road, it'll be acting up like over boosting and then like acting like the exhaust brake's on while you're letting out of it when it's not supposed to.
Yeah,
you just stop, pull over, unplug the actuator. If you unplug the control box to the turbo, just unplug it. It'll sing a song, but it has no boost. Obviously, very little. None.
I mean, what you're describing is a messed up turbo. The VGT is not sliding back and forth.
It's brand new.
That doesn't mean it's not ruined.
Yeah.
True. Very true.
That's why Rob started out by telling you about the service bulletin, is because so many of them get ruined right after they get installed.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That
makes sense.
Very common piece, and that's why Cummins had to come out with that. And I think a lot of times they have a policy now that if it doesn't get diagnosed in their shop and installed in their shop, they're not real favorable on warranty on that stuff. Just because it is something that a lot of people missed.
Hey, Rob, or sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, go ahead. Sorry. All right, man, you need to take that turbo and take a close look at it, and maybe take it off there and take it apart and see where. I mean, I'll be honest with you, it can be pretty microscopic. I've taken apart a few and couldn't find anything wrong with them, but they just wouldn't actuate back and forth because they're too gummed up. So,
gotcha.
That's
what we'll do. We'll take it. We'll tear it down.
All right, brother, man. Good luck.
Yep. Good luck.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Bye. Yep. Hey, Rob, what's the number for Highway and Heavy Parts?
855-447-7278.
All right, people are asking, so I'm putting it in the comments there.
Gotcha.
Let's see. I have a BXS that I owned for 4 years. Oil pressure has always been around 55 at 1400 RPMs. Operating temperature runs about 38 at idle. Should I be concerned? No, you shouldn't be concerned, especially if it's been like that for 4 years. I wouldn't worry about it. You're critical on a Caterpillar when you have went to 18 or below that, just so you know. Blake, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Hey, how's it going? I'm a big fan. I got a random question for you this evening. I just wanted to get your opinion on. I got a Cummins X15, and I got most of the guys that I work with. We all, for the most part, we all got Cummins X15s. And my question is why? What is your opinion on why some Cummins will drop a liner or just need an in-frame for some whatever reason, for reason X, at $300,000 or $400,000, and why other Cummins X15s, same year, make, and model, will go 700,000+ miles? And if you can take the same exact motor side by side, same maintenance schedule, same driving style, and if they just go when they go, or if there is lemons and not, or I hear a lot out here on the road, you either got a runner or you don't. and I just want to get your opinion on that.
I don't agree with that at all, because that's not what I see in my shop, right? And it's not what I saw when I owned 23 trucks and ran the shit out of them for 13 years or however long, you know. It's just not what I see. What I see is guys do treat their trucks differently, and it shows. I mean, I have a whole group of guys that bring their trucks here. They're all owner operators. They all own the same type of truck, and they all haul for like the same type of place. But they also all do like the same maintenance schedule, and those guys all have million plus on their Cummins. It's pretty much all of them. And they're very religious about every 100,000. They're cleaning they're taking their EGRs off, having them cleaned. They're changing their air filters all the time. They're religious about their oil. They're taking their intakes off every couple 100,000 and cleaning them. And I rebuild all of their engines. And when they come in here, most of the time they're rebuilding them just because they've got to 1 million miles and decide to do it. And there's really nothing wrong with the engine.
Okay. Yeah, I was just genuinely curious because the way I interpret it is it's just whether how in depth into maintenance you want to go, whether you're just doing your typical service or going deep into it or not deep into it, but going more and doing the intake and EGR and all of that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, my friend down in Savannah, he does 20,000 oil change maintenance, and he runs a semi-synthetic, but he also changes along with all his filters. He changes his air cleaner filters every 20,000 miles. I mean, he runs all PACCARs, but his PACCARs do not suffer from all these problems everybody else is having. He didn't have all these after treatment problems and all this other bullshit that everyone else does. So I think there's something to be said. There's something to be said for all that, for sure.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the calls,
I agree 100%.
Seems like a lot of the calls that we get, a lot of it stems from you get guys that are doing deletes or bad tunes that are out there that are wreaking havoc on engines. But kind of like your point, Aaron, and I think I've told you this before. I had a customer that had a bunch of these EGR engines that had a trolley business, and they were ordering like 300 EGR gaskets, 300 of these, 300 of these. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like, well, I take the EGR off and I clean it out, clean everything out. I don't have the problems that these expensive problems like VGT turbos. Man, a lot of times the failure is from a big chunk of that carbon breaks off and goes through the engine, bends the fins, and then you're into it for an expensive turbo. But he was consistently cleaning out that stuff, and he was determining problems before they got to be big problems. And I think that preventative maintenance is something that it could go a long way when you're cleaning that stuff out.
Yeah, too much consideration unless it's giving them problems. But that DPF filter, it starts to get backed up. You start to see higher EGTs. You start to see, back pressure problems. That is going to wreak havoc on your liners and cause premature dropping in the liners because it's so hot inside. It's just all that kind of stuff. It's all preventative. I mean, that engine is designed. As much as I'm not a big fan of Cummins, in reality, if they're maintained properly, they go 1 million miles. You see it nonstop.
Yeah. My truck my truck is deleted and EGR deleted as well. Excuse me, sorry. And my dad and I, we both have X15s, and we got our trucks deleted around the same mileage and EGR deleted at the same time. But his motor went out at 618 and some change thousand, and then mine, I'm still chugging along. I'm at 695 and some change.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's exceptions just everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, one controlled instance can't it can't be a you know a litmus for anything really. You know, you'd have to be looking at
Mm-hmm.
numerous engines in the same scenario to pull some kind of data out of that.
Uh-huh. Yeah. 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 I was just genuinely curious. I wanted to get your opinion on it.
Tell your
You
dad to
have
ease up
obviously
off.
seen a million more motors than me.
Tell your dad to ease up off the throttle.
I know he's heavy on it. We got when we got pyros in our trucks, he was like, "Whoa, I totally changed my driving style." So, yeah, he's a heavy-footed. He's a heavy-footed gentleman.
Well, that.
But we yeah, we're heavy every day as well. I just like everybody else. So.
And they wear out faster when you're doing stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. But well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it a lot.
Yep. Have a good night, man, and good luck.
Yep.
Yep. Thank you very much. You guys will.
Somebody in the comments in TikTok is asking about Belzona. Basically, where do we use Belzona? And we'll use Belzona, and we'll also use not JB Weld, but Permatex's version of JB Weld. There's Steel Weld. That's a pretty good product. Occasionally, in your lower bores, when you have cavitational erosion, we'll go in there and fix some of that cavitational erosion. In fact, we do it all the time, to be honest with you. You know, if it's just not bad enough to warrant, you know, we got to pull this engine out, or the budget doesn't allow it, and you know, and go do lowers at a machine shop, which is a very expensive venture. Doable. We do them all the time, but we do fix a lot of engines in-house with Belzona. I have never, ever in my life had a warranty issue from fixing a truck cavitational erosion with Belzona. Never. So it's something that doesn't bother me to do. I have no problem doing it for guys. I've been doing it forever. Used to do it on my own engines, of course. And I've, you know, is it the right fix? Well, you know, there are call outs in your service manuals that tell you how to do it. So, yeah, you know, is there better ways? Sure. But they're a lot more expensive. So, Belzona is not your worst enemy. So, you know, I used to get a lot of grief when I first started my Hacknaion channel on TikTok because I showed videos of us doing repairs with Belzona. Oh, you JB Weld guy. But I mean, it is what it is. You know, if it works, it works. If a guy's on a budget, what are you gonna do? Make him mortgage his house so he can go back to work and feed his family?
Right.
Well, maybe you will do that. I'm not gonna do that. So, you know, I like to advise guys on what they should do, tell them what we can do, and let them make a decision.
Everybody's in a different situation, right?
Oh, it's cutting out on you a little bit there, Rob.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm not sure if it's your internet or mine. Probably mine. No, I can hear you now. I got shitty internet, but
there you go.
Let's go ahead and take another caller here. There's actually, holy shit, there's a lot of people in the queue. Probably won't be giving out the number anymore. There's a lot of people in the queue. 8 minutes is the longest someone's been on hold yet. So hang on, guys. We'll try to burn through a bunch of these real quick. Again, guys, this is Hacknaion Live. Rob is my co-host tonight from Highway and Heavy Parts. Thank you for joining us.
No problem.
Rob, yeah, let's go ahead. Hello, you're on the air.
Hey there.
Hello.
You hear me?
Yeah. What can we do for you?
Yeah. I have a 99 2WS Cat, and it's been rebuilt a couple of times already. It has over 4 million miles. Original crank. And it seems like it's getting hot quickly on me, and I'm wondering what would be your suggestion at the worst scenario. Should I get like a long block or what?
Boy, I mean,
Well,
you could, but you got working components right now, right? No major failure. That's a beauty of having something that's not destroyed, right? Depends if time is an issue. Sometimes a swinging a long block in is advantageous, but at this point, you don't have anything that's broken or destroyed. It's just got a lot of miles on it, which these engines
It gets hotter.
right,
Yeah.
but if
It gets hot kind of quickly.
so here's the question: is this something that's new? I mean, did it not used to do that? It's always done it.
It always pretty much done it. I think shortly after rebuild for the third time, it for maybe 100,000, it was okay, and then afterwards it started getting hotter and hotter each year.
Each year. Okay, so
yeah,
if you have
third year,
if you have failure problems, you don't make it. You don't go 3 years with a failure problem, right? So define it gets hot, and what I mean by that is, do you have to change the way that you're driving, or otherwise your red light or yellow light will come on?
Oh yes, absolutely. I have to gear down, and get a bigger RPM, 1600 or so, but on a lower gear.
And if you don't do that, then it will start squealing at you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, then you have a failed head. The head's. I mean, it's. I hate.
Head.
Yeah, you're. At some point, you have overheated this thing, and the head is now compromised. And no driver likes a guy telling them that, but that's the case.
Sure. Well, this engine been rebuilt 3 times, and it's always been the head problem. So I don't know if I seem to be. I don't pull very heavy all the time. And it's a 13-speed with the 355 rears, geared pretty good. But do you have a recommendation for a head then, if that's the case?
Well, I get all mine from Highway and Heavy Parts because they'll get in not loaded heads, and then they put their own valves in them, so they're putting way better upgraded Inconel valves in them. So pretty much if you buy a head from anybody, unless it's OEM, you're going to get the same head. They all have the same casting mark in them. It's really what the company that is selling you that head's doing with them before they sell them to you, because most people are buying like ATL, you name it, is all buying heads from overseas, and then they'll throw the finished parts in them. And maybe if they're goofballs, they'll spray paint the springs or something, make them look good. But Highway and Heavy Parts is actually putting much better quality Inconel valves in there, and that's why I go with them. That's what makes it a stage 2, stage 3, and then of course a stage 4 head is a fire ringed head. But I mean, we could talk all night about the necessity of a fire ringed head, right? So for price reasons, for warranty reasons, and for what happens to it once it gets in the United States reasons, I get them from Highway and Heavy Parts.
One of the things too.
Well, I don't know where a platinum package heads from. But
they're all reman. They get them out of the dumpster in the back.
Yeah. Okay. Seriously. So having the motor at over 4 million miles on it, what would your suggestion be for me? If the truck is a 2000 model W9, and I'm kind of in a crossroads between selling it and getting something newer, or get a long block on the next runaround.
I mean, it's entirely up to you. I mean, there's two schools of thought, and I am comfortable with both of them. You got one school of thought, which is, if it's in spec, it's in spec. Doesn't matter if it has 4 million miles on it. Doesn't matter if it has 400 miles on it. If it's out of spec with 400 miles on it, it's a piece of shit, right? And we need to do something more extensive. And if it has 4 million miles on it and everything's in spec, well, technically you can send it, right? So usually, though, when guys have the kind of mileage on them that you're talking about, guys usually prefer to do an out of frame, kind of do a complete job on it, send the block to the machine shop, have them deck it, check the line board, do the lowers, stuff like that. You're adding, you're going to add, price wise, somewhere between $8,000 and $12,000 more dollars, but it is an astronomically more complete job.
Yeah.
And that would be done at your shop over in where are you at in South Dakota?
No, we're in San Antonio.
Oh, San Antonio. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you want us to talk to you about that, I mean, you can call us. I try not to let the show become a sales pitch. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. I appreciate I get what you're getting to.
Yep.
We can have. I'll give you a call at a later time, and maybe we'll come up with a better. We give full consultation. Solution.
Yeah, we give a comprehensive consultation and help you come up with the best plan. But if you're looking for our number, the best place to find it's on Facebook. It's our pinned post, and that's our phone number.
Okay. All right, Aaron. Appreciate your time. Love your show. Love your podcasts. I try to get into them, watch them as much as I can. You're doing excellent work. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
One of the biggest things that we see with cylinder heads like that repeat failures are the base engine's got to be right? It's if you got to cut counterbores, if you got to put lowers in it to make sure that you're not having failed head gaskets down the road and getting air in the cooling system and causing cracks in the heads. So just making sure the base engine is right is key.
Yep. There's no arguing that an out of frame is a much more expensive job, especially if you're going to send the block to the machine shop. I see a lot of videos from Ohio Trucks Works where he encourages people to take it out of the truck and do an out of frame. Some guys aren't in the position in life to do that, right? Every guy can do something like that, and there is merit to doing an in frame, but you can't argue that an out of frame is a better job. It is. It's a more complete job by far. So there's merits to both schools of thought, but when people call in here and ask me which way they should go, I always say, well, you should always try to keep it in the truck if you can, for budget reasons. If budget's not something that we're worried about, let's party naked. It kind of is what it is. So,
yeah.
Anyhow, we got quite a few callers. So we probably better keep taking them.
You got it.
As we get into the second hour here a little farther, we'll cut off some callers here, so we don't go till 10 o'clock. Or I'm sure Rob has a curfew. Hello, Daxton, you're on there.
Hi, Aaron. This is Daxton. I got a question for you. I got a 4CK 3406C with a peak pump on it, and we've been having trouble with the truck cutting out, losing power, no turbo boost, and no fuel. And the code we're getting is a boost pressure sensor. So we took it to local shops and whatnot, and they all tell us the boost pressure sensor is in the transducer module in the back of the heat pump. And nobody wants to tear it down because they can't find parts for it, they say. So what they're telling us to do is to find a 3406B pump and convert it to a B model. I was curious on your opinion on what we should do in this situation.
What is the engine that you have?
It's a 3406C model cat.
Part electronic.
Yep.
It's semi-electronic, semi-manual.
All right. I've never heard of the problem that you're having before.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people have been telling us.
Right.
Man. Well, hopefully somebody in the comments has something smart to say. If they do, I'll share it with you. As far as changing it to a B model pump, you know, I mean, that may be the route to go. Is there any problems they'd run into there, Rob, as far as compatibility, CPL wise, and all that?
No, like I mean, I think you could probably put a B model pump on it and run that way. Just run it full mechanical. I don't know that I've never changed one over, but there's like limited electronics on that peak engine that they can be finicky. So I've never switched one over to a mechanical pump, but it should theoretically bolt on in that position. But I don't know if that's
that part I know it will do.
Yeah.
Yep. I have a couple B model pumps if a guy needs one, but I don't see why you couldn't do that. I've never done it myself. I've done a lot of B models and a lot of C models, but I've never converted a C model to a B model. So I don't just want to sit here and tell you that you can, but according to Rob, you're not going to run into any CPL type issues or basically, this piston doesn't work with that or anything like that, or your nozzle or whatever it might be. So you should be okay. You should be okay changing over to a B model pump.
So my question now is, do you know any place to get like a harmonic balancer or some front parts for the engine to switch it over to a B model?
Yeah, he's on the show with me.
Right here. Yeah. I think, I mean, we could take a look at what you need.
You guys have them at Highway and Heavy Parts?
Yeah, most of the parts you're going to need, I think we would probably have available. Like I said, I haven't been through one of these where it's you're switching from a C to a B, but I'm sure there's people out there that have that would know exactly what to do.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys kind of carry everything for the B, Rob. We're getting ready to do. I have a B model here right now, and I got internal fuel lines, nozzles, the pass-throughs in the head, the external fuel lines. I mean, obviously your push rods, your lifters. You guys had everything. So dampener, oil cooler, oil pump, water pump, dampener, turbo, manifold, round port head. You guys gave me a round port head with round port manifold. I can't think of a single item that I'm going to have to go to CAT for. You guys gave me everything. So I don't see why you're not just telling this guy, yeah, we got every goddamn thing you need, because I know for a fact you have everything that he needs. The only specialty things you guys don't have is the 3 special head bolts or the 4 special head bolts, or however many it is that the J-Cats hook up to. That's pretty much it. You guys have everything else.
Looks like Charlie's got the answer.
Okay, Charlie says a B model pump will work just fine. You just delete the boost sensor and run a line to the AFR housing, which that part I knew that you'd have to run that line. I just didn't want to tell somebody something I've never done before. But Charlie would know. By the way, guys, Charles France, he's in the comment section. That is Charlie from Pure Diesel Repair. He's going to be on here next week as a guest. That should be pretty fun. So make sure you guys tune in next week. So, and as you can see, Charlie, we got it working. So make sure you get your shit set up. So anyway, should be a fun show. All right, let's go ahead and take another caller. You're good to go, right, brother man?
Yep.
Yep. Thank you. I appreciate it, you guys.
If you need a B model pump, I have 3 of them sitting here. I'd do you a good deal on one. I know I'm not supposed to be doing a sales pitch, but I'd like to get rid of them. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Have a good night.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Yep. You too.
I had a guy roll through here, Rob, probably a year ago, and he just had a pallet of B model pumps. Yeah. I think I bought 5 of them from him. He had a bunch more than that. I just bought a slew of them. I mean, I should have bought them all, but you know, some of them were missing parts and whatnot. But so I bought all his complete ones. And they just
they're kind of tough to come by. So good to have.
Yep, and we got a place in Nebraska that refurbishes them for us. So anyway, all right, another caller here, Con. You're on the air.
Hey, sir, how are you?
Good, brother, man. What can we do for you?
I just need a question about the end frame. I want to do end frame, a common i6 S15.
Okay.
Would you be answer that? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm just waiting to see the punchline. What's the question here?
Question is, I want to do an end frame my Cummins i6 15.
Yep. What would you like to know about it?
I want to know, like, because I live in Wisconsin here.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to know if it's going to, if I can bring the truck over to you. Are you guys in Alaska or in North Dakota?
No, we're in San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, you guys in Texas, okay.
Yeah.
So would you give me kind of estimate for that? Like what would run me to end frame?
Do you have a pen you can write with?
Yes. Give me one sec.
Okay, you ready?
Give me a pen. Yes, I'm ready.
737 204
204
9316.
936. Oh, it's 931?
9316.
16. Okay.
That's the number to my shop. Give us a call around noon tomorrow, and we would give you a consultation on that. I don't like to talk about that kind of stuff here on the show. All right, brother?
That's all right. Sounds good to me. Yeah, I was trying to figure out your number, like commenting you, but nobody.
Yeah, that's the number to our offices, and they'll point you in the right direction. All right, brother?
So it's a 373-204-9316.
737-204-9316.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
Thanks, bye.
It's not that I mind sharing those type of things. It's just, I don't know, just something about it. This show's not for that, you know? I don't mind if a guy wants to reach out and get our information and all that, but we don't want to talk numbers and sell stuff and whatever else on here. Anyway, I don't think so anyway.
Right.
Of course, we got to promote Rob a little bit. He's on here, right?
You're good.
But anyway, I mean, it's kind of hard not to be a salesman when you're the premier parts supplier in the United States, right? But
right.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson, you're on the air, brother.
How are you doing, Aaron?
Good, man. What can we do for you?
Not much. You know, I've told you, you know, on your personal line once or twice, and I appreciate what you do, man. I've been in the truck repair industry for 25 years now, and I've worked for PACCAR, I've worked for CAT, I've worked for like Fleet Pride and stuff. And what you do, man, is it's outstanding. It really is. And freaking, you're just upfront about it. You're freaking honest. You try to help the customer get back into the situation to where they can actually feed their family again, and that's outstanding, man. It really is.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You don't see a lot of shops out there like that anymore that are like, you know what, I'm trying to help this person, and you don't see that. I've worked in the dealerships before, and freaking it's all about the money, what the bottom dollar on everything. It's not about what you can do for the customer. It's how much you can get from the customer, it seems like anymore,
Yeah.
And it actually forced me to get out. It forced me to get out of the trucking repair industry. And I went to the automotive industry and stuff like that, but it's great what you do. It really is.
Thanks, man.
I'm gonna also at the same time, I'm a master technician through PACCAR, and up until about a year ago, whenever I switched over to automotive technician, we're gonna like the servos on your new your Eaton 18 speeds and your 13 or 12 speed Eaton Fuller transmissions, your auto shifts. I was seeing so many problems with people just not maintaining their air dryers, and that's what was causing the servos to go bad in it. It was getting moisture contamination inside of it, and that was what was causing the servos to go bad on them and stuff like that. And they actually got a little screen on there on the inlet.
Yep.
If you take the inlet off of that and you take a little mirror up there and you look in there, you'll be able to see if you're getting any kind of contamination in there and stuff like that.
Yep.
And if you catch it before it starts going real bad, you can actually, you can upright the problem and save yourself thousands of dollars.
Yep. Good info, man. But 100%. I mean, that makes total sense.
On the CAN system, on like the PACCAR the guy was talking about earlier, if you go to the back of the transmission, you have 2 CAN wires coming into your transmission. And every time I've ever found a major CAN problem on that, they have one of those cold solder joints about 1.5 feet in the wiring harness coming off the back of the transmission. And I've always found the secondary CAN wire on the either the high CAN or the low CAN. One of them solder joints is letting loose right there, and that I've seen that 100 times, and I've fixed that, just taking it apart and resoldered to that, and that saved the customer a lot of money rather than having to buy a new wiring harness.
Yep.
And it's just certain things like that you see as you were working on all this stuff that I would just wish I had the opportunity. With me being a technician, I was not able to actually talk to the customer and be like, you know what, if you had just done this yourself, you could have found this problem and it would have saved you this, $5,000 bill of electrical chasing down and stuff like that.
Yeah, but you only know what you know.
another
You're feeding me new information right now, which we appreciate.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right. On the EPA, the PACCAR engines, they're great engines and stuff. As long as you stay away from the EPA 21 or newer, they're having such problems with their injectors because they designed these injectors over in Europe for not the ultra low sulfur diesel like we run in America. So they're designed to run on an actual sulfur diesel, and it's plugging up the small passageways in the injectors, and they're having such problems with them. I've seen trucks with 3,000 miles have to come in and get an entire new set of injectors in it because of the ultra low sulfur diesel we run over here in the States.
Yep.
It's there's a whole bunch of stuff. I'll shoot you some private messages over later on and everything, and just kind of showing what I've seen over the years of doing and everything. And we're gonna, I don't know, I just want to be able to help these people out myself too. You know what I mean?
Yes,
that's
sir.
awesome.
Well,
but you are. I applaud what you're doing. I watch your videos all the time and stuff, and it makes me proud that I'm seeing people like you doing things like this, because it seems like it's become such a money thing to where it's like, it almost seemed to me like when I was working for the dealership or the dealerships that all they were cared about was their bottom dollar. They didn't care if they were hurting the customer,
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I think extends past the dealerships, but
but you're doing a fabulous job, and I just wanted to call in and applaud you for that, and we can give you just a little bit of information I've heard off of your show and stuff like that of what I've seen of working on these things consistently all the time, But you're a good man, and thank you for what you do.
Yep, thank you, sir, and have a good night. I appreciate the info.
Thank you.
You too.
Yep. Bye.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good call.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it made total sense when he was talking about the air dryer causing the problem. We're just talking about the air dryer filter, really.
Sure.
Your desiccant filter causing the problem in the servo, because we see that in the manual servos as well. And I can see exactly how that would end up causing the exact same problem that a manual driver is causing to have you make your servos go bad.
Yep.
Makes total sense. Hey, Rob, can you do me a favor? I gotta run downstairs and grab something.
Yep.
I'll be gone for probably less than one whole minute. But
You got it.
there's a comment in here, guys, asking about the difference between one-piece pistons and monotherm two-piece pistons. But if you could tell people about friction welding and all that kind of stuff, and some of the exciting stuff that we're doing, where we're hopefully getting rid of skirts as much as possible and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then another guy has a question about a BXS compound in case I'm not back. I'll be right back.
Sure. So I kind of go back to the beginning of pistons, and the early engines were obviously running a one-piece aluminum piston. And as things progressed and you get a little bit higher temperatures and pressures and higher horsepower, they switched over to a two-piece piston, which is going to have a steel crown and aluminum skirt on that piston. That was kind of the standard for up until you get into some of the emissions engines, where you get like a C15 Acert, or you get a 14-liter Detroit, you get an ISX, and they went to a monotherm style piston, which is a one-piece steel piston. Again, higher temperatures and pressures and more demand on that particular piston needed something to withstand that. And the early ones, the monotherms, were they had a trough in the bottom of the piston that the piston cooling nozzle would spray up in and cool the piston. The technology wasn't there for like a friction welded piston. You could see some failures along the way with some of these engines, where that tray on the bottom of the piston would fall out, and then the piston would overheat and score a cylinder. But then the technology got better with the friction welded piston, and they were able to friction weld those two pieces together, so that trough is still in there, but they didn't need to have there was a gap between the piston and the skirt. So most of the new pistons now, rather than having that gap between the piston and skirt, are a full skirted piston with that trough in there. So the one-piece steel piston is the most durable piston out there so far. Then you go in ceramic coat them and anti-friction coating and micro polish wrist pins, and then you got even something more durable yet. So the one-piece steel piston has been the most durable piston out there so far. Hopefully that answers the
monotherm.
So the monotherm piston was, and it had a small steel plate. The piston like the early Acert 306 7460, where it had a partial skirt and then a gap and then the crown, and that had a small steel plate in the bottom of it. Well, until they could friction weld, that's kind of how they had to do that to create that trough in there. Now they can friction weld those two pieces together and make that integral, make it a little bit beefier yet. So you got a less failure points on that.
So you think so you're saying friction welding is better?
Friction welded piston is the latest design. They kind of went from that monotherm style to the friction welded piston, and that's the latest design.
And the friction welded ones are easier and less or more cost effective to produce.
Yeah, I would say.
From what I
mean,
understand.
Yeah. Yep. I think the technology wasn't
Oh.
there for a
All right,
while
we
to
better get.
make all that.
Yep. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more guys on hold here. Guys, we're going to get to every one of you. The longest somebody's on hold right now is 7 minutes. We were not going to take any more callers. We're getting too late in the show. Rob has a curfew. His wife will beat him up, so we can't pull an errand and go an hour over on our show. But we will get to everybody. You guys, just hang on. We'll go ahead and take someone now. We ready, Rob?
Yep.
Let me answer one question. I hate to ask you, probably asked a million times. Are you guys in North Dakota? No, we're not. We're in San Antonio. We used to be in North Dakota. We were in Alaska before that. But all right, you're on the air, AJ. What can we do for you, brother?
Hey, I have a 3406B model. It's spitting a whole bunch of soot out the exhaust. What would cause that?
What did he say?
Yeah, I didn't catch it either.
What was that? I didn't hear you.
I have a 3406B model cat, and it's smoking, but it shoots out a whole bunch of soot and covers everything at the back. Just makes everything black, and it runs down the exhaust. Why would it do that?
You mean like out of the stacks? You're throwing soot out of the stacks?
Yeah, out of the stack. Yeah.
That's not really abnormal.
It's not. Well, I mean, so I pull a sprayer behind it, like a big ag sprayer, and it just, I mean, it goes from green to black.
Oh, so you're pushing
fuel?
I mean, you're rolling soot out all the time? I mean, do you have black?
Yeah.
Do you have black
I mean,
smoke? Do you have black smoke rolling behind you?
A little bit, but not a whole lot.
Well, I mean, what do you think that black smoke is? That black smoke is, I mean, if you want to get super technical, it's unburnt fuel is what it is. That's going to create a lot of soot, of course. I mean, but soot coming out your exhaust stacks is not really something to be alarmed about, but it's most likely it's turned up too far. You got too much fuel.
Too much fuel or not enough air?
They can turn ice.
So the fuel just turned up too high. What you're telling me?
Sounds like it. Yep.
All right. No, I thought maybe it'd be an injector or something, because we bought it not too long ago, and it just covers everything, makes it all black.
Yeah, but a bad injector is going to be different problems. It's probably not going to be that.
Okay.
I mean,
all right. Well, that's about it. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Have a good night, sir.
Bye.
I mean, I'm agreeing with the guys in the comments here. I had 3B models in my fleet, and we were hauling up in Alaska, and they were turned up so freaking high that you could not be behind them. If we were running in a pack, the guy with the B model always had to be in the back because no one could fucking breathe. I'm serious. I mean, if you're running your heater or something, he'd gas you out of the damn truck.
Yeah.
And rolling coal 100 yards behind you. The truck was always sooted up. So, anyhow. All right, we'll go ahead and take another one here. Josh, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Hey, Aaron, what's up, boss?
Not much. What's going on?
Hey, another one. Just a simple question, man. I got a C15A, sir. This one doesn't have the oil temperature, just has the water temp gauge in it. And you just fuck the gauge, even if I'm loaded just a little bit going up a hill, it runs up to about 220, 225 before the fan turns on. And I was wondering, Is that okay for the fan turn on automatically at 225, or should I manually turn it on every time? Just to be sure. I know it's getting hotter, so.
So, yeah, it could be a boost issue. Charlie's saying back to that B model. Charlie's saying it could be a boost issue, basically. It could be. I doubt it. I mean, he didn't say any had any runnability issues. Sorry, I'm commenting on the last caller. But as far as your problem goes, here's the first thing. Your fan comes on at 218, not at 220, 225. Okay. If the gauge that you're reading there in the cab, the dummy gauge, so to speak, is not where that ECM is reading. It's reading at a totally different spot. So it's at your coolant's probably not getting over 218 before that engine fan comes on. Here's kind of your litmus test is, does it cool itself back down when the engine fan comes on?
Yes, it does. Once the engine fan comes on, it goes back to around like 195, 200, whatever the gauge reads.
Okay, so I highly recommend that you keep your hand off of the little fan switch and let it do it itself. And you will see someone like me a lot less likely than if you were flipping it on all the time.
Got it. Yeah, because when it starts getting up, I'm like, on the gauge, it reads 225. I'm like, shit, is it getting too hot? But I guess the gauge, you just told me the gauge isn't 100% accurate, so that makes sense.
Well, and if it was getting too hot, you would have to change the way that you're driving, and that's not the case, so I wouldn't worry about it at all, brother.
Yeah.
All right?
Yep, good point.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yep, have a good night. Go back to that B model real quick. You know, there's comments going on about that B model, and I agree with, I mean, check your air filters. Sure. I agree with all those things. He could be having a boost problem, which is causing him not to officially burn his fuel. But he said a couple key things. First of all, he said it's always done it, right? This isn't a new problem. And the second thing is he's not complaining about any power issues, any runnability issues. And when we said it's turned up too high, he readily accepted that, which means that he kind of already knows that he kind of already knew that it was turned up too high. So I think we were safe leaving it at that. If he's still listening, these guys do have good suggestions. You know, you have a hose that comes off your pump to your intake. That could have a hole in it, but that causes a pretty bad runnability issue. You have a pretty bad power loss from that.
Power loss, yeah.
Your air cleaners, you know, you could have quite a bit of restriction going on, causing you not to efficiently burn your fuel. Those are all great comments that make sense. Yep. I just have a feeling that's not the problem that this guy's having.
Yeah.
If you guys are continuing to call in, we're probably not going to get to you here. One more person called in. We'll go ahead and let you get away with it. We'll probably get to you. So everybody else, just calm down on calling in. We have 6 people left. We're going to get to all you guys, and then that's the cutoff point. Andy, hello. You're on.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, brother. What's going on?
I'm having an issue with a pack car that has 1.1 million. I changed basically everything in the fuel system. I'm having a hard time starting. It cranks a lot before it actually starts, but it does start. It just cranks a lot. Have you ever heard of this issue?
Well, on all kinds of engines, absolutely. The pack car in particular, no, because I don't have a lot of experience with them. We've rebuilt 3 or 4 here in our shop, and that's the extent of my experience with them. I've never owned and operated them. Usually when you have an issue like that on any diesel engine, though, which the pack car is no exception to being a diesel engine, it usually has something to do with getting air into the fuel some way, whether that be a check valve or a fuel line or something like that, right? So you have on all diesel engines, for, you know, in generalizing here, you're going to have a check valve in front of and behind your fuel system that keeps pressure against the fuel rail, in other words, against the injectors, so you don't end up with the problem that you're having, that when you go to start it, it's trying to reprime itself every time. And so if you're trying to start it, it is losing prime. So it has to be somewhere between your fuel supply, which would be your primary filter, and your return line. You know, your return line is going to have probably a check valve on it. I don't know the check valve configuration on the PACCAR. I have a good friend of mine here that has rebuilt everyone we brought in here, but he's not on the show tonight. But I will tell you, if you're still having this problem, James Daniels in here. What year? What year is this one?
It's EPA 13. The truck's a 2015 Peterbilt 389.
All right. Well, my buddy that's going to be on in 2 weeks, he's in the chat. So let's see if he comes up with some kind of a suggestion for you here.
I basically changed everything that has to do with the fuel system, but the fuel rail. I don't know if there's anything internal with that fuel rail, like a check valve or something, but I did change the 2 sensors on the fuel rail itself.
But and
I'm still having the issue.
You're losing prime completely?
No. It starts up after like cranking for like a minute, then it starts up.
Yeah, that's losing prime completely.
It does start, but it cranks a lot.
Right.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Well, I don't know if you know, but a PACCAR, when you lose prime completely, you're basically screwed. It takes a long time to get prime again.
Right. I understand it. Like the filters and everything were completely emptied out, but one gentleman says that my buddy James says it's going to be on the low side. Another gentleman said we see it all the time where you may have got the double O-rings on the fuel filters. That'll lose long crank. Someone changed the filters and didn't pull the old O-ring off, and they spun the new filter in. That can cause it, which I have seen that on cats as well. On the water separator filter, where guys will take the water separator off and you have that secondary O-ring that you slide on there. I've seen them stacked 3 times and the damn thing's losing prime. So, I mean, that certainly is possible. I mean, you might want to check those fuel filters, make sure you haven't stacked some up or something like that. But I don't know. You're just going to have to keep cracking at it, sounds like.
Yep. All right, I appreciate it. Last question I have for you. What do you recommend? Rebuild?
I mean, that kind of it's a really subjective question because, you never know. You never know what you're dealing with a guy in his personal life, right? I mean, to swap the engine, you're talking an astronomical expense. I mean, if you get that job done, if you buy a decent engine to put in there and then buy all the stuff to convert it. Let me just put it into perspective. Your cost in just hard parts to make the conversion are going to be somewhere around between $12,000 and $16,000. Has nothing to do with buying an engine. Has nothing to do with the labor to make all that happen. Right?
Yep. That's the what you call that? The ECM and all that, right?
No, that would be like you're making your air-to-air work, your cooling package work, your exhaust work, the wiring harnesses, the programming. It's a whole ass shit show. Before I let you go, though, one of my buddy James, which he's going to be on here not next week, but the week after that. So if you're still having problems, you can call back then. He's a PACCAR guru. He says it also has a green ball in the filter housing that will get stuck and cause the same problems. So
took that one out.
Took that one out. Okay.
Yep. I appreciate your time, though. Thank you very much for the help. I'll call back when he's in. I appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir. Good luck.
Love your show.
All right. Bye.
Thank you, man. All right.
James coming in clutch.
Go right to another caller here. Yeah, coming in clutch. Him and Charlie. Be fun to have both those guys on the show. Jake, you're on the air, brother.
Hey, buddy. Appreciate you taking the call. And your story is pretty amazing. I enjoyed the Denny's eating and sleeping story. And question is, I've got a 6NZ, and it's on his second rebuild. and it's got the stock turbo, and I'm looking to upgrade the turbo to get rid of that turbo lag in it, and it's tuned at a 550 tune.
Yeah, what would you suggest for that, Rob?
I mean, that 78 millimeter turbo works pretty good in that situation.
That's why I use the 145/78 is because you eliminate. I mean, it almost acts like a twin turbo. You eliminate all that lag.
Oh, really?
You know, the only time you run into a problem is if you're not fueling hard enough, but your 550 should be fueling hard enough to spool that thing up quickly. You should be fine.
Okay, good deal. I'll let you get to the next call. I appreciate it. I'll get in touch with Heavy Haul Parts and try to order me one.
All right, brother, man.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank you, sir.
Real quick though, it makes a big difference to put a performance manifold on.
Okay, well, I'll keep that in mind too. I'll search one down if you got a recommendation.
Same guys.
On which one you might think.
Same guys will point you in the right direction.
Yep.
Sounds like a plan. I appreciate your time, and I really enjoy what you're doing.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, buddy.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, you know, I started out, Rob, putting those 78s on my B models when we were in Alaska. And not just for the power. It was so they would actually have freaking jakes because they build so much more back pressure. You actually get some good jaking out of your B models with one of those quick spooling turbos. Night and day difference. You know, we switched the round port heads on our B models up there so we could put a performance manifold on there and started running those 78 millimeter 145s. And it's night and day difference on your Jake brakes. Yeah, not to mention helped out a hell of a lot on your power. But that's another thing is that, you know, he had a 6NZ. I think he said he's going to see way better Jakes with that turbo for sure. So that's another angle that guys don't think about, you know, is that's another reason I love that turbo size and configuration so much is it, you know, it's not just spools up faster, gives you more power and all that. It actually is going to help you slow down quite a bit.
As well.
Bernie, C7, you're on the air.
Yes, here. Yes, I did build a C17 cat, and my problem is I built it out of an ACER motor, ACER block. I got the ACER cam, I got the ACER timing gears, but I'm running 6NZ sensors, the camshaft, the head, and the injectors, and I'm running a 2WS ECM. And when I'm running at 1650 RPMs, she starts popping. Is my timing right accurate to the way I've got it set up, or the way I built it, or it needs to be changed?
I'm waiting for Charlie to start commenting.
Good question. Another thing is that at the same time is when I start the truck up, it will run for a second. It will shut down about 4 times in a row before it'll actually stay running. The next time, if I start it up again, it'll shut down, but it catches itself. It fires back up. It'll shut down. Sometimes up to 3 times like that, and then finally it stays running.
That's a sensor reading issue right there.
Okay. Is the timing sensor for the camshaft, is that supposed to be on the back side or on the side of the motor?
Oh, that depends entirely on the camshaft camshaft gear configuration, of course. So, I mean, in my mind, I'm screaming that configuration doesn't work. You know, you have an ACER cam, you have 6NZ injectors, which I don't even know why anyone would do that. There's certainly no benefit to that. You basically built a bastard child and then now trying to solve problems that you basically built into it.
Okay.
And your 2WS reads in a totally different spot, timing wise, as an ACERT does. Is this a BXS ACERT or platform, or is this an MXS ACERT platform?
The MXS.
Okay, so MXS reads in a totally different spot. And that's got to be why it's shutting down on you, is because your secondary speed sensor is probably like wondered what the fuck is going on.
Right.
I mean,
Didn't you say you had a 6NZ cam and a E model front cover?
I thought. Tell
the front cover, I'm not 100% sure from which motor they took the front cover from, but I know everything else is the 6NZ, just not the block and the crank and the timing gears. Other than that, everything's supposed to be the 6NZ.
Yeah, but your timing gear on your camshaft for an ACERT reads in a totally different spot than it does on your 6NZ. Your 6NZ housing.
So I should maybe change the timing gear and maybe a different ECM.
I don't know, because it's so hard to predict what's been bastardized and what hasn't, but that sounds like a disaster. I don't know why anybody would do it like that. It's hard to tell.
Well,
because
before I built this thing, I asked a lot of mechanics on how if this would all work, and everybody kept on saying, yeah, there's no problem, everything should work just fine. But now I'm having this issue, it starts popping.
Right, because
that doesn't go away.
Because it's not it's not timed right.
Right.
Okay.
Do you think if I would put a 6NZ file into the 2WS ECM, do you think that would help?
It wouldn't make any difference at all. The configurations on those are so close.
Yeah.
I without knowing everything that was done, it's too hard to try and figure out. Well, I don't really want to give you any advice, because I could be giving you advice where you're being redundant because it's already been done, for one, and for two, I could be steering you the wrong way, because I have no clue what they did. But holy fuck, you could have achieved what you were trying to do and kept everything ACER, to be honest with you.
Right.
Yeah, just need to put a nitrous bottle on it. That'll fix it. I guess for diesel, it'd be a propane bottle. Need to do some propane injection.
Honestly, I've been thinking about coming to your shop, and you can build me that 600 that you've been bragging about on your show. Or on your TikTok.
Yeah, you should have made that thing into. Yeah. It sounds like.
All right, thanks, Aaron. Pretty much appreciated.
Yeah, I wish I had a better answer for you. I just don't have enough info on it, brother.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. Have a good day.
Yep, bye.
Pull the radiator cap for a new engine. I love it.
Peter, you're on the air, brother. Pull the radiator cap, port a new engine. Hey, you're on the air. Can you hear us? Looks like.
Hello.
Oh, yep. I was just about to let you go. You're on the air, brother.
Hey, I have a 2022 389 with an X15.
Mm-hmm.
It's deleted, and I've been having a random check engine light that comes on, it stays on for about 2-3 days, and then I also started having a problem like after I idle, like overnight, I'm throwing like bluish white smoke out of the stacks when I leave for maybe the first 5 minutes. Every time I shift and everything, and also like if it idles overnight and I turn it off, and I go back, I do a pre-trip or whatever, I go back to start it. It'll start run for about 3-4 seconds, and then it'll kill.
Say the last part again.
Say if I idle all night, I turn it off, do a pre-trip in the morning,
and then I come back to start it. It'll run for maybe 3-4 seconds, and then it'll kill. Then I'll come back, I'll turn the key on, let it sit for like 30 to 45 seconds, start it up, and it'll run fine.
I mean, I bet you're having after treatment issues. It's not deleted, I'm assuming.
No, it is deleted.
It is deleted.
Yeah.
Okay, so first thing you need to do is figure out what that check engine light is. At least
Well, every time I plug it up, it comes back to like nothing, the check engine light. And then it'll throw a wrench, the little wrench on the dash. And then after I start it or like I turn it off, the wrench will go away.
There's something there.
What I mean, you when you say every time I hook it up, what do you mean by hook it up? You have somebody with a
Like
computer
I'll
with.
Well, I'll stop in like a truck stop, like the TA or the Love's, get them to plug it up with the check engine light on, and it'll come back to like nothing.
Well, I've never been to a TA or Love's to have them do that kind of stuff for me, but I'm assuming they don't have good software like a real shop does. You need to get by a real shop that has actual software that's built for that kind of stuff. And I could be wrong. The TA could have that. I just highly fucking doubt it, right?
Yeah.
I think they was using like J Pro, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Look at it on the laptop.
That's
J-Pro?
That's not going to work. J Pro's not going to show you shit.
Okay.
Insight will
you
show
need to get
you.
to somebody that has. Yep, you need to get somewhere where they have insight. You got to go somewhere where they have insight, and if that's where you got to start. And insight's going to have a breakdown and tell you exactly what you need to do to fix that problem, and then you'll be able to troubleshoot and figure out what the hell's going on. No one can help you until you do that, man.
Okay. Is there something I can swing by your shop for, or
are you in Texas?
No, I'm in Louisiana, but I'll go that way pretty often.
Yeah, man, of course. You can find our number there on Facebook, Hacknaion, where it's the pinned post. We usually don't even charge for stuff like that, man. So.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate it.
All right. Have a good night. Have a good night and good luck.
All right. Thanks.
All right, Justin, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Hey, pretty good. I have a 3406 B model cat, and I talked to you the other day about it having a whole lot of blow by, like it was blowing all out the blow by tube and out the dipstick tube, and then it all went away. And I've driven it about 1,500 miles, and it's not doing anything. It's no blow by, no oil coming out of it. It wasn't cold. I think that's what you told me. Maybe it was cold. I'd driven it 160 miles that day when it did that.
Well, I mean, there's more than one thing. It could be your breather on your blow by.
Okay.
That could have been having an issue. You could have had some kind of blockage going on. It's really hard to guess. It could be, it could have been your barometric pressure of wherever you're at. It could be your ambient temperature. It could have been making it. There's a million things it could be, but if the problem went away, sounds like that's good news, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I just didn't think that'd be possible. I was like, oh man. Yeah, it blew a lot of wool out of it. Like I'm talking like a gallon of wool probably.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Yes. So you had.
Yeah, it was down the tank.
It don't matter.
About 1,000 miles prior to that. I didn't think so.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. Sounds like you probably had some kind of blockage issue going on. You got to remember your B models and your E models, for that matter, do not have a very good design for catching blow by. Charlie at Pure Diesel Repair, you know, he had a B model, and I talked to him about it a few times because they went back in and rebuilt it again because it was consuming a lot of oil. And one of my first concerns that I expressed to him was, you know, putting a new chimney on it, because the new chimneys have a wire fiber inside to help keep all that oil from escaping, where the old chimneys are just kind of like the piece of shit, right? So, you know, it kind of depends on, you know, what kind of style you have. So if it happens to you again, I recommend getting a new chimney and putting it on there. Those chimneys are only like $30 or $40 or something. They're not expensive. It's a direct replacement. Your old ones are made out of metal. The new ones are plastic, but they work great. So.
Okay.
All right, brother.
All right. Well, so nothing major broke in it then, right?
Sounds good. It's always good to hear, man. Go make some money.
Deal.
Yep, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep. Bye. All right. No name given. You're on the air.
Hi, my name is Marcus. I'm from Milwaukee. I have a 07 Freightliner Classic with an Acer MXS X, and I'm having boost problems. I do have around the manifold a little soot on the back too, which I was going to address. And I was trying to see about rebuild. It's been rebuilt once in 2013. I bought the truck in 18, and it's been sitting since for 2 years now. So I want to get it up and running, and I'm trying to see what advice you can give me.
Well, I mean, obviously you need to fix those exhaust leaks before you determine that you have a boost problem, right? Start there, of course, but other than that, I don't really understand the question. What I mean, a good advice for what though?
I believe I'm at about $1 million now on it.
Since it's been overhauled or
total.
Yes, since it's been overhauled.
I mean, does that automatically mean you need to rebuild it? Not necessarily, right? I mean, run it around a little bit and see if you're consuming oil and see how it acts, and you know, see if you're having problems, and kind of let that be your guide. And I highly recommend you take an oil sample. You know, you probably put new oil in it, but we'll put 4,000 miles on it and pull an oil sample and see what's going on.
Okay.
All right, brother.
All right. Appreciate you.
Yep. Have a good night.
You too.
Speaking of that, Rob, I have a truck here. I made a video about it. It has the coated bearings, and it made it 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. You saw that video?
I did.
Well, that guy was here because he religiously for the last 2 years has been taking oil samples, and he sends them to me every time he does one, which is really cool.
Cool.
You know, because we did the engine, and the last one he sent to me about 2 weeks ago, it showed bearing content in the oil. I was like, well, shit, you better come here. So he cruised over here real quick, and so we dropped all the bearings, and we found which one it was. And something had gotten the oil rifle there, and on number 2, it took a huge groove out of number 2 of the bearing material and spit it in the oil pan, and that's where it came from. But yeah, that's how I was able to see. You know, I wanted to check all the other bearings. We kind of found that one right away, but you know, we put new bearings in it and sent him on his way, and whatever else. But if he hadn't been taking those oil samples, he would have never known. They didn't run any different at all, right? So.
Sure.
Just something for everybody to think about. You know, those oil samples that go a long ways. I mean, it's not a waste of money to do it every single time. So,
yeah. Gives you a good baseline to go off from.
Anyway, people keep calling in. If you're, we're not taking any more calls. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to. Basically, there's 2 more callers. Let's go ahead and take them. But if anyone else that keeps calling. People keep calling, I keep dropping them. So I'm not trying to be rude, guys, but we got to let Rob go here soon. Are you okay to take another call, Rob, or 2?
I'm good. I'm good. Let's roll. Yep.
Okay, well, here we go.
Yeah, what's happening, man? I have a 3460B Caterpillar. It's a 7FB. It's got pretty good. It's got the four-corner turbo on it. What is your take on a PDI turbo? Will it make it perform a little bit better, or will it clear up the smoke a little bit?
My opinion on a PDI turbo. Well, PDI makes pretty good products. The problem I have with PDI isn't that they don't make a good product. They make a good product, but they're really proud of them. You can get similar products for a better price, and if you have problems with it, you probably get a way better chance of the people standing behind it. And PDI might get mad at me for that, but that is the experience that I've had with them, and that most people have. So they're overly proud of their products, and they're it's very hard to get them to stand behind it if there's a problem. So I think there's a lot of other products out there that are just a little bit easier to deal with, and you save a little bit of money. I've used PDI's products for years, but I've also used Bully Dogs and Borg Warner and everybody else's. And your price points on those are just better, and your aftercare is better. So my recommendation would probably be to give Highway and Heavy Parts a call and see what they got for that engine.
Okay. All right. And I had the same problem that other guy had when he said it had a whole bunch of blow-by and it blew oil out of it.
Yep.
Yeah, my cam went down. One of the lifters inside of it went down. We had to swap the cam over. We'll pull the cam, put two new lifters in it, and we cleaned everything out, stuck a new cam in it, and blow-by went away.
Well, sure, but you had a runnability issue as well, right?
Yeah, it was performing in 4, but we didn't know it until it was done over.
Right. So this guy would, he's not having a runnability issue. So anyway, all right, man, I appreciate it.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yep. Have a good night.
You too.
Yep.
That was our shortest phone call ever, Rob. 14 seconds.
Yep. Nope. See ya.
All right, Brian, you're on the air, brother.
Hey, Aaron. I got a Series 60 Detroit with 50,000 miles on an M-frame. I've got my second oil sample back. I took the first one, had 11,000 miles. Like I said, it's got 50,000 on the rebuild now. The first sample showed 2.5% fuel dilution. The second one showed 3.3. Per the sample, that appears to be on the low side, but just wondering, since I don't idle my truck at night, what's your thoughts on that?
You're getting fuel in your oil, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it's showing like I said, yeah, the first sample showed a 2.5% fuel dilution. The second one showed 3.3%. Is that a concern or not? Something to worry about, or should I be doing something different?
Well, you could be getting fuel into that kind of level of fuel. Doesn't necessarily mean you have some kind of issue with your injectors bleeding off into the system. You can get fuel. That could be a symptom of you getting combustion down into the crankcase, and it's pushing fuel down there. So, yeah, I would be a little bit concerned about that. I'm not sure. I mean, did those numbers have a red line? Did they have a exclamation mark underlining that line item?
Well, they just had, those were one of the boxes that they had highlighted in green. It was OPS oil sample.
Okay, so they consider it a concern, so you should consider it a concern.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, they have it in green, so it's still in what they consider normal range, but
Oh, okay.
just was curious.
Usually they
So do
don't
they
highlight
go?
anything that's not a concern, in my experience.
Yeah. Do they go yellow and red typically on your samples?
Yeah. Yeah, so like they do a 0 to 4 system. So 0 and 1 are normal, 2 and 3 are abnormal, and then 4 is critical. So like yellow starts at 2, like pinkish red starts at 3, and then I guess dark
Okay.
red is 4.
Okay, so green's still normal, so nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I just was curious since it seems to be climbing up. Like I said, it was 2.5% on the first sample at 11,000 miles and 3.3% on this last sample at 50.
But there could be so many variables in that, right? If you take your next oil sample and it's lower, what then, right? So you probably need at least 4 oil samples for and it can rise before you get concerned.
Okay. So on something like fuel dilution, you're saying usually get 4 data points at least.
Well, I mean, you just don't have a control right now, right? You don't have enough information. You only have 2 samples, and there's just so many variables that could contribute to a little bit higher number. You at least need to get 1 more. If it rises equivalent 1 more time, well, maybe then, right? Maybe start to look and see if there's some kind of issue. So you just don't have enough data. And since it's in the green, I wouldn't worry about it. I would just continue to gather data.
Gotcha. Okay. So like I said, I typically don't idle at night, but obviously summer is here and coming worse. And so there may be some nights of idling. So if I do have to idle at night, do you recommend idling up to 1,000 to eliminate or
100%.
help reduce fuel dilution?
100%. Or higher.
Is that 1,000 RP? Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
It has nothing to do with
it.
It has a lot less to do with how high you're idling it as it does to how what you're keeping the engine temperature at. So, like for example, in the summertime in North Dakota, I would tell the guys no matter what to idle them up to 1,000. But if it wasn't staying warm, idle them up more. In Alaska, sleep overnight in Alaska, and have the thing idled up the temperature, engine up to operating temperature. It doesn't really have anything to do with the magical number of idling it up. There's something to be said for 900 your oil pressure up where it's putting way better oil pressure to everything. Sure. But if you're talking about what am I doing as I'm sleeping overnight, you're not really worrying about the oil pressure at that point. You're worrying about operating temperature. So it's, it might be a nice summer night and you're parked in a breeze and the damn thing's not staying warm at 1,000. Well, then you need to bump her up to 1,200. So that's how you figure that out.
Okay. So if I've got approximately a 180 thermostat, then I need to set that idle to be in that 180, 190 range.
I mean, yeah,
or higher.
I mean, man, I don't agree with 180 thermostats, but
yeah,
the engine needs to operate. It needs
Well,
to be warmer than
what
that.
they're putting in most Series 60s.
What do you sell me, Rob, for the Series 60? The 195s?
I think I can tell you here in a second. I think. Let's see here. That fuel dilution could be just a little bit more incomplete combustion if you were idling more. I mean, just idling more could cause that.
Yep. That's why you need more samples. There's too many variables.
Yeah, they're either 185s or 190s, Aaron, typically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get a 190 for that, I would highly recommend it. You know, a lot of guys will switch to 180s on purpose, and man, I think that is a huge mistake and not smart.
Yeah.
Can you explain why?
Yeah, because you're not burning carbon off until you're above 180, and the biggest problem with sitting around idling is the accumulation of carbon packing on top of your piston and ultimately packing into the rings and destroying the liners. That carbon's going through the system. It's how you end up with most of your valve train damage, your main and rod bearing damage, and it's certainly how you end up with scored out and swiped out liners and destroyed rings and all of that. And that is 100% happens from, I mean, not in all cases, but the way that those things happen is from not being up to operating temperature often enough to burn the carbon off. So you're doing yourself a disservice running a 180. You know, we all have it in our heads that we got to keep these engines as cool as possible, and it's actually the opposite. You know, and if you were to crack open any owner manual for any of these engines, they all tell you that. And your newer engines will do it by themselves. They'll use the VGT to put back pressure on the engine to keep it hotter than shit.
Yeah. Yeah, more complete combustion.
Because they've taken
So
it
that
out.
carbon doesn't start to burn off.
You bet. Yes, it does. Well, if you stack too much of it on there, it won't burn off. But the point is never let it take hold.
Right. But what I was about to say is, so the carbon doesn't start to burn off until that 180, 185 mark?
Above that. And Charlie said it the best I've heard it said. He said, the thermostat is there to keep your engine warm. Your cooling system's there to keep it cool. The thermostat is there to keep the engine warm. So let that sink in, and you're taking it and making it perform worse than it was designed to perform by switching it to a 180. Thank you, Charlie. That's very well said. Very well said.
Well said. I agree.
So if I switch to a 190 or 195 thermostat, is the fan gonna have to, the set point on the fan gonna have to be changed in the ECM, because I think it comes on about 200 or 205 right now.
No.
I think it's probably coming on warmer than that, be honest with you. But no, you don't have to change anything.
So you can switch to a 195 thermostat and no adjustment on the fan is needed. Just let it come on for factory settings.
Yep. The more often it comes on, which means that you got your engine more often, the healthier your engine is going to be. Less valve train damage, less main damage, less damage.
Wouldn't that mean reduction?
You don't worry about that when you're running your AC, do you?
Well, no.
Well, right. You got to trade off something, right?
Right.
I mean, your typical engine fan, and you probably on that thing, you probably have a V belt. You're robbing somewhere 18, 16, 18 horsepower, maybe. In your serpentine belt, you might be robbing 20, 25 horsepower. And it's for just a few seconds. I mean, how much fuel mileage, how much worse fuel mileage you're getting? Well, on a 12.7, probably it's inconsequential. It's certainly not something I would try to factor in.
Gotcha.
Maybe if you had a BXS with a 12 rib or something and it's sucking down 32 horsepower on you, maybe a little bit of concern there. I don't know, but certainly not on that old V-build.
No.
But do you think running at the higher temperature would gain some horsepower, though, if we're burning off more carbon, reducing that buildup?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, brother.
Oh, I was just curious. Get your help.
Yep. Have a good night, man.
Yep. Good night.
Yep, you too.
Kind of funny. I used to run a BXS in Alaska, Rob, and when I would, we hit a lot of big hills, and some of them, you have plenty of time before you hit them. You might have 6 or 7 miles before you're going to hit the base of the hill. And that BXS had that big old 12 rib on there, and you could tell when the fan came on. It would just suck your shit out of your horsepower. So I would turn the fan on and try and cool my engine down to about 175 before I hit the bottom of the hill, just praying to God it wouldn't come on, because there's like 2 switchbacks, and if you lose power in those switchbacks, the odds of you wiping your feet and having to throw chains is super high. So yeah, so some of them really do suck down your horsepower. That BXS is with the 12 rib is just fucking horrible, man. Horrible.
Yeah.
Every time it came on, you'd like, oh man, I might have to grab a gear. The damn fan came on.
You can feel it, right?
The V belts, I never really saw that as much. Yeah, you can feel it. Your 8 rib on your MXSs and whatnot, they didn't seem to be that bad, but that 12 rib on the BXS, holy shit. It's crazy that it would even make a difference, but anyway, should we wrap this up, or we got 2 more callers? You want to?
You got somebody else? I'm good.
All right, I won't take any more calls. If anybody else calls in, I'm not taking you. We'll take these last 2 callers. You guys waited for 15, 16 minutes. We'll go ahead and show you the courtesy here. You're on the air. Hello.
Hey, how's it going? I got 2 14-liter Detroit 60 series, EGR delete, new turbos, new injectors, and they both have no power.
So it sounds like they're both tuned really badly.
Oh, they've checked the tune. One's at 515, one's at 475.
Same person tune them both?
And the one person checked the tune on both of them, and that's what they were set at from factory.
Well, if they're deleted, then they don't have a factory tune on them.
Right.
Okay, so then somebody must have changed the tune on them, but they just seem like they have no power, nothing in them. They just fall on their face when they're loaded.
Yeah, so something's not tuned right for sure. Bad tune.
Bad tune.
Yeah,
Okay.
the guys in the comments are concurring. Bad tune. Bad tune.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. See it all the time. All right. I will look into that more and get a better tuner.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Good luck.
Yep. Thank you. Bye.
All right, our last caller, Lane Brown. You're on the air, brother.
Welcome.
Hey, man. I've been a follower of you for years. How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Appreciate it. What can we do for you?
So I had a project that I worked on. This has been several years ago that failed. And I want to know your opinion on why it would have failed away. Back out of tech school, truck shop, very small independent truck shop. And I really built a lot of B and C model cats for them at the time.
I the only one in here? Holy crap. Looks like Aaron lost connection, lost the callers, lost everybody. Just here with you guys. Oh, geez. Oh, Pete's. Sing us a lonely song, Charlie. Oh, wonderful. I guess that's the way that the show will end. Appreciate all you guys' help. It was pretty cool. Yep.
All right, we're back up. Holy cow. The whole crashed on my side.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I do appreciate you taking my question.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Rob, can you still hear the caller?
No, I couldn't hear anything. Everything was gone.
Okay, so
They were asking me to sing the whole 9 yards.
He built the engine. He built an engine. Well, they built an engine, and everything was still intact, but it shattered the liner. But when they took it apart, everything was still intact. And after hearing his story, I told him that the cooling jet wasn't getting oil to the piston crown. That was my assessment. Anyway, that catches everybody back up. I almost guarantee that's what was going on, is they had a bent cooling jet. And that's why it failed. Anyway, brother man, you have a good night. I appreciate the phone call.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir. Bye. Here's something. A lot of guys rebuild their own engines, and they'll call me. And the most common thing that I see where guys fuck up rebuilding their own engines is bent cooling jets. 100%. The most common problem that I see that guys make is they bend cooling jets when they're going back together.
Yeah.
Critical
one
piece,
guy,
right? Yep. I mean, if you smoke one hole, almost guarantee you bent the cooling jet. One guy back up here, Rob, said, do you have an Interstate McBee overhaul kit for a 99 12.7 for sale? And do you know if those 12.7 is normal to not have oil jets for the pistons?
Yeah, we're gonna have we'll have a kit for them, but they made them both ways. Some will have piston cooling nozzles, and some will have non-piston cooled, or even covers over the holes, so they can be built different ways.
Yep, it's not uncommon to see the hole covered, and you can put cooling jets on after the fact. Now, I've always wondered how in the heck. I mean, I don't understand how the ones that don't have cooling nozzles survive, but
right,
it is what it is.
Yep, engineered.
Anyway, the engineer knows better than me. That's for sure. But anyway, guys, thanks for joining us again. This was Hacknaion Live. I was your host, Aaron Bennett. We had Rob from Highway and Heavy Parts. Rob, thank you for giving us your time.
Yeah. No problem.
Rob's been off work for what, like 6 hours now?
No, what's pretty cool about this is you got a lot of guys in the comments section that are, hey, they've got good, valuable feedback on this. It makes it to where you get answers for everybody. It's the comment section is getting stronger and stronger with these. So that's cool to have the experts in the industry that are listening and following along. And
yeah, it's dynamically made it a better show compared to the first couple ones I did. And as we go along here, more and more people are getting involved. I do want to thank everyone in the comment sections for giving us your time. There's a lot of repeat guys here that are purposely coming here just to help people out, like Charlie from Pure Diesel Repair, You got the Ohio Truck Works. He's always here. Diesel Beast and the boys from over at Worldwide Diesel.
Yeah.
You have my buddy James from Trademark Truck Lines and a couple other guys that I don't know personally. But all kinds of guys in the comments here that are obviously here just to help people out. It's heartwarming.
Really cool.
That's the atmosphere that we were hoping to foster with this show. So you guys are much appreciated for taking your time along with me and guys like Rob. Again, guys, next week we'll have Charlie with Pure Diesel Repair on here. I'm sure y'all, if you follow me, you probably follow him. And then the week after that, we'll have a new face on here. It'll be James with James Daniels with Trademark Truck Lines. Great guy, and I'm excited to introduce him, y'all to him. I have a hard time convincing him to do social media, but he should. He has a lot of wisdom to share. Just a great guy. Appreciate him being in the comment section tonight, helping out. Anyway, guys, Rob, again,
Cool.
Namaste. Thank you very much.
Talk
I
to
know
you
you
tomorrow.
stayed up pretty late. It's much later where you're at than we are here. Yeah, talk to you tomorrow for sure. I'll have some
All right.
fucking problem I'll have to call you for. Appreciate
sure.
it, Rob. Have a good night.
All right.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
you.
everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. Later, brother.
Bye-bye.